Good evening, everyone, and welcome to tonight's council meeting being held in the council chambers for this 12th of February 2024. We'll start with the opening affirmation and acknowledgement of country. We gather to represent the people of Albury who have entrusted us with this task. May our efforts be blessed with insight, wisdom and common sense. May our personal values give us honesty and courage to serve our community effectively and with respect for all. We would like to acknowledge the Wiradjuri people as the traditional custodians of the land that we meet upon today and pay our respect to the elders past, present and future, for they hold the memories, culture, tradition and hopes of Aboriginal and Torres Strait Islander people that contribute to our community. A reminder, the council meeting is being webcast and recorded. By speaking at the council meeting, you agree to being recorded and webcast. Please ensure that if and when you are speaking at this council meeting, that you are respectful to other people and use appropriate language. Albury City accepts no liability for any defamatory or offensive remarks or gestures made during the course of this council meeting. An audio recording will be made for administrative purposes. Item 3 on the agenda, conflict of interest declarations received and disclosure of political donations. Mr. CEO.
Thank you, Mayor King. No declarations for this evening's meeting. And just briefly, disclosure of political donations and requirements of the Environmental Planning and Assessment Act requires a person submitting planning applications or submissions regarding a planning application to disclose any reportable political donation and or gifts to any local councillor or employee of council. Reportable political donations include those of or above $1,000. There are no development applications for consideration at this meeting and accordingly no advice is required regarding specific planning matters. Thank you.
Thank you. CM4 apologies. CM 4.1. Councillor Cameron.
I'd like to move that council receive, note and accept the apology of Councillor Bowen and grant leave of absence for the meeting.
Thank you. Councillor Thurley.
Second the motion, Mayor King.
Thank you. Councillors, we'll put the motion, those for. That motion is carried. Thank you. CM 4.2, attendance by councillors at a meeting by audio visual link. There are none. CM 5, mayoral minute. There is no mayoral minute. CM 6, action plans. Councillor Glacken.
Thank you. Through you to move the recommendation as a motion that the following action plans be received and noted. Actions complete for noting only, actions awaiting responses from external parties, actions in progress and long-term issues more than 3 months. And I confirm there's a more than one item or at least one item in each of those. Thank you.
Understood. Thank you. Councillor Thurley.
Second the motion, Mayor King.
Thank you. Councillor Glacken, did you wish to speak to the motion? Councillors, any speakers for or against in relation to that? If you're happy to put the motion, those for. Those against, that motion is carried. Thank you. CM 7, confirmation of minutes of previous meetings. CM 7.1, minutes of the council meeting held on the 11th of December 2023 at 6:26 p.m. Councillor Bettridge.
You, through Mayor King, I'd like to move that the minutes of the council meeting held on Monday, the 11th of December 2023 at 6:26 be confirmed.
Thank you. Councillor Thurley.
Second the motion, Mayor King.
Thank you. Happy to put the motion unless anyone's got any comments or questions. We'll put the motion. Those for. Those against, that motion is carried. CM 8, reports from community forums. There are no reports from community forums. CM 9, notices of motion, notices of rescission. There are none. CM 10, presentations and deputations. There are none. CM 11, reports, minutes of committees and working parties. CM 11.1, minutes of the Sports Albury Advisory Committee meeting held on Wednesday, the 15th of November 2023. Councillor Callaghan.
Thank you, Mayor King. I'd like to move that the council receives, notes and accepts the minutes of the Sports Albury Advisory Committee meeting, which was held on Wednesday, the 15th of November 2023.
Thank you. Councillor, wish to second that? Thank you, Councillor Glacken.
Thank you.
And
Happy to second. Yeah.
Sorry. Councillor Callaghan, do you wish to speak to the motion?
Yes, thank you, Mayor King. I do. At that meeting, we noted several events that were coming up, which have or most of them have happened. I'd just like to speak to some of those successes. So it was a great start to the end. Sorry, it was a big bash at the end of 2023 at Lavington Sports Ground with another great year exceeding 10,000 spectators. And it was a great partnership between Albury City Council, Lavie Sports Club and Cricket New South Wales and Cricket Victoria. Only yesterday, the Lake Hume Cycle Challenge event took place with a variety of events from 15 to 114 kilometres with an unprecedented amount of riders with 325 participating on the day with the aim of exceeding last year's $21,000 raised. Money will go directly to the Albury Wodonga Cancer Centre and I look forward to hearing their final tally. Over the break, we also had the Australian Country Junior Basketball Cup. It was another roaring success with 1,000 participants, which adds a huge injection to our local economy. Currently underway, and it's a partnership between Tennis Victoria, which is Country Week, which is hosted in Wodonga but uses Albury's courts as well. They're expecting 1,300 participants with an estimated $6.5 million into our local economy, according to President Craig Farrar from the Wodonga Tennis Centre. And also just another plug for next week being the 10th Hume Bank City to City, which will be held on Sunday the 18th. And you can still register if you'd like to walk or run. This annual event has currently raised $840,000 for health and wellbeing services in the Northeast. The event this year aims to reach a monumental milestone of $1 million for Albury Wodonga Health. So some outstanding events happening locally in the sports space. And also soon to be announced will be an expression of interest process seeking community members to be part of the Sports Albury Wodonga Advisory Committee moving forward. So thank you, Mayor King.
Thank you, Councillor Callaghan. If there are no other speakers, we'll put the motion. Those for, those against, that motion is carried. CM 11.2, minutes of the Floodplain Risk Management Committee meeting held on Thursday, the 30th of November, 2023. Councillor Edwards.
Thank you, Mayor King. I move that Council receives, notes and accepts the minutes of the Floodplain Risk Management Committee meeting held on Thursday, 30 November 2023.
Thank you. Councillor Thurley.
Second the motion, Mayor King.
Thank you. Councillor Edwards, did you wish to speak to it at all?
No, thanks.
Thank you. In that case, if there's no other speakers for or against, we'll put the motion. Those for, those against, that motion is carried. Thank you, councillors. CM 11.3, minutes of the Sustainability Advisory Committee meeting held on Monday, the 11th of December, 2023. Councillor Thurley.
Thank you, Mayor King. I move that Council receives, notes and accepts the minutes of the Sustainability Advisory Committee meeting held on Monday, 11th December 2023.
You, Councillor Callaghan.
I'm happy to second the motion, Mayor King.
Thank you, Councillor Thurley. Do you wish to speak?
Just a couple of points. Thanks, Mayor King. I note that the one member, Natasha Stafford, has announced her resignation, and I'd like to publicly acknowledge her contribution to that committee. I also note that the Youth Council at the last meeting advised that they will be holding a mental health event in March this year, so I look forward to hearing more about that. The committee did meet today, had a tour of the Waste Management Centre, and it was extremely informative, and I'm sure most people were very impressed. The only other issue is we do need some new members, but we've decided that that will be delayed until after the September elections. So in the interim period, if people want to sound out around the community for people to be part of this committee. Thank you.
Thank you, Councillor Thurley. Happy to put the motion then. Those for, those against, that motion is carried. CM 11.4, minutes of the Albury Crime Prevention Committee meeting held on Tuesday, the 14th of November. Councillor Glacken.
Thank you. I'm noting I'm not a member of this committee, but on behalf of the representative from council, I'd like to move the recommendation as a motion that council receives, notes and accepts the minutes of the Albury Crime Prevention Committee meeting held on Tuesday, 14 November 2023. Thank you.
Thank you, Councillor Thurley.
Second the motion, Mayor King.
Thank you. Any speakers for or against? In that case, we'll put the motion. Those for, those against, that motion is carried. Item 11.5, minutes of the Albury Aquatic Advisory Committee meeting held on Wednesday, the 29th of November. Councillor Glacken.
Thank you. Through you to move the recommendation as a motion that council receives, notes and accepts the minutes of the Albury Aquatics Advisory Committee meeting held on Wednesday, 29 November 2023.
Thank you. Councillor Callaghan.
Happy to second the motion making.
Thank you. Would you wish to speak to it at all, councillor Gluckin?
No, and I don't think there's anything emergent or urgent to raise. So yes.
Thank you. Councillor Callaghan, is that a question?
Yes, thank you, Mayor King. Through you to the most relevant staff member. Thank you, Ambrose. Thank you, Ambrose. Just in regards to point 4, the Albury City Aquatics Facility Strategy, it states in here that a comprehensive review of the aquatic strategy from 2017 will be undertaken once the Warringah Structure Plan and the Open Space Strategy and the Social Infrastructure Plan has happened. My question is, there's been some decisions made already in regards to aquatics moving forward. So they'll obviously be taken into consideration regarding the feasibility of the indoor aquatics at Lauren Jackson and those current changes at the Lavington Pool.
Mr. Glass.
Thank you for the question, Councillor Keller, and through you, Mayor King. Yes, that's correct. There has been some decisions made by council that will influence that strategy going forward, as well as, of course, the engagement and design that we do with that council has resolved for the Lavington Swim Centre as well.
Thank you.
Thank you. Any other speakers for or against or questions? Happy to put the motion. Those for, those against, that motion is carried. CM12, documents for sealing. Councillor Betteridge.
Thank you. Through you, Mayor King, I'd like to move that council authorises its seal to be affixed to the documents outlined below. In the presence of 2 signatories, authorised to affix the seal pursuant to Regulation 400 of the Local Government in brackets General Regulation 2021, and the council seal and management of legal documents and advice procedure. A. Albury City lease to Albury Wodonga Table Tennis Association Incorporated at Greenfield Park, commencing 1 January 2024 for 5 years, in brackets FIL 09/01763, and B, Albury City lease to Albury North Manual Activity Centre Incorporated of 416 Nowland Avenue, North Albury, for 5 years, commencing 1st November 2023, brackets FIL 09/01794. C, Albury City lease to Albury Rugby League Football Club Incorporated at Greenfield Park, commencing 1st of January 2024 for 2 years, brackets FIL 09/01764.
Thank you. Councillor Gluckin.
Happy to second. Thank you.
Thank you. Did you wish to speak to it all? Questions? Councillor Callaghan.
Thank you, Mayor King, to the most relevant staff member. My question's in regard to the timeframe being to Albury Rugby League being 2 years. Most premises and facilities that we lease to are in the vicinity of 5, and I'm just wondering if we've offered 2 or they wanted 2, and why could it not be 5, mirroring the others?
Mr. Ferris.
Through Mayor King, I'll have to take that on notice, but I assume it's to do with the schedule of works, the major works to happen at that site, and they may want to vary the lease and the arrangements with the change in the progress of the master plan for that site, but I can confirm that tomorrow.
Thank you. Question, Councillor Edwards.
Thank you, Mayor King. Through you to the relevant member of staff. Just in regards to A and C, did those organisations demonstrate how they would support gender equity as per the Albury Wodonga Sports Strategy?
Mr. Ferris.
Again, through you, Mayor King, I'll need to take that on notice, Councillor Edwards, and certainly provide you with some details around the format of the new lease to incorporate diversity, etc.
Thank you.
Thank you. Councillor Thurley. No, sorry, that was from earlier. Happy to put the motion if there's no, wrapping up. Those for? Those against? That motion is carried. CM13, Officers' reports for consideration. CM 13.1 Draft Aviation Strategy, Scope and Stakeholder Engagement Plan. Councillor Glacken.
Thank you. Through you to move the recommendation as a motion that council endorse the Albury Airport Aviation Strategy Scope and Stakeholder Engagement Plan. Thank you.
Thank you. Councillor Thurley.
Second the motion, Mayor King.
Thank you. Is there a question? Councillor Cameron.
Thank you. Through you to the most appropriate member of staff. Is it still the case that the strategy and the scope, the strategy requires, or is it another field of council's policy requires that only airport and airport-related activities are permissible in that precinct?
Mr. Glass.
Thank you for the question, Councillor Cameron, and through you, Mayor King, business activities at the airport need to be consistent with airport operations. That's correct.
Subsequent question, please, Madam Mayor. Mayor King. Are staff aware, through you, Mayor King, are staff aware of a business conducting coffee roasting on the next to one of the car hire businesses on site, which is adversely affecting the amenity for the other businesses out there?
Mr. Glass.
No, through you, Mayor King, staff, no, I'm not aware of a coffee roasting operation.
Mr. CEO.
Sorry, correction. Council staff are aware and there's action underway to deal with that matter.
Okay.
Thank you.
Thank you. Councillor Edwards.
Thank you, Mayor King. This is just a query through you to the relevant member of staff in regards to correspondence I think all councillors received from a member of the public asking whether the scope includes consideration of noise.
Thank you. Mr. Glass.
Thank you for the question, Councillor Edwards, and through you, Mayor King. It explicitly doesn't state noise, but as part of the regulatory requirements and airport noise restrictions, regulations, it would certainly be a consideration for recommendations that are put forward from the consultant. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you, councillors. Any other speakers or questions? Oh, haven't I allowed you to do that? My apologies, Councillor Glacken.
Thank you. Yes, to open debate, and perhaps there'll be further questions following this. I speak in favour of this tonight. I'm part of the airport committee on behalf of council and have been for a number of years. And councillors, all councillors around the table will know that I speak always very fondly of the Albury Airport in so much as it is a fabulous entity that it provides enormous benefit to us as a city, to Albury-Wodonga as the twin cities, but also to our regional community on a number of fronts, including emergency service provision, regional people being able to travel to Albury and then access further destinations. Significant work has been undertaken over decades to grow and expand, so to control and manage that growth and development of the airport and to ensure that we continue to provide good service provision for our community, but also our regional community, in support of what that in turn provides for our community, including the growth and development opportunities for businesses because they've had that connectivity, and for our family and friends. It enables us to attract businesses and organisations. It enables us to attract professionals to some of the professional organisations and government services, for example, medical staff, etc., on an ongoing basis, because we have that provision within our city and it's only a matter of kilometres away. This report scopes out the future development and how we want to be able to take that forward using professionals who help design and develop the future abilities of airports within a regional and small cityscape. And so I'm encouraging our councillors tonight to allow us to take this forward. The strategy and the plan as scoped out in this document has been developed with the new Airport Advisory Committee members, and many of whom work at significant airports around in capital cities. And so the input has been extremely valuable. So I just ask councillors to support this recommendation. Thank you.
Thank you, councillor Glacken. Question, councillor Callaghan?
Yes, thank you, Mayor King. Through you to the most relevant staff member. Just in regards, and I'm in support of the Aviation Strategy Stakeholder Engagement Plan, and as Councillor Glacken just alluded to, that the airport actually services quite a large community area. And my question is specifically, how will the council seek engagement from those surrounding regions and communities?
Mr. Glass.
Yes, thank you for the question, Councillor Kelleher, and through you, Councillor King. There's a number of different methods. Obviously, when the aviation strategy is completed, we'll seek community feedback. But through those targeted stakeholder groups, we'll also through council, we will contact our surrounding councils through our economic development team and flag to them that the aviation strategy is being reviewed, and we will ask their councils to promote participation and seek feedback through directly to Albury City's council staff.
Thank you. Councillor Glacken, did you wish to sum up debate?
Yes, and thank you. The attachment for this report goes into great detail about the list of stakeholders, one of which is council peers, other mayors and councillors, and no doubt this will be raised at a future RAMJO meeting because it benefits those regional communities, and it benefits us as the City of Albury to be able to have those regional communities utilise our airport because that increases the traffic and the volume utilising those flights, which means we have more flights than we would otherwise have. It also goes into detail about how that stakeholder engagement will be undertaken, and it's following the new pattern of community engagement that we have been working, or council has been working towards, and councillors have been briefed on recently. Thank you very much.
Thank you, councillor Glacken. We'll put the motion. Those for? Those against? That motion is carried. CM 14, officers' reports for noting. CM 14.1, conference attendance by councillors, 1 July 2023 to 31 December 2023. Councillor Glacken.
Thank you. Through you to move the recommendation as a motion that council receives and notes a report on councillor conference attendance for the period 1 July 2023 to 31 December 2023. Thank you.
Thank you, councillor Thurley.
Second the motion, Mayor King.
Thank you, councillor Glacken. Did you wish to speak to it at all?
No, nothing
Councillors?
emergent or urgent.
Any speakers for or against? If not, we'll put the motion. Those for? Those against? That motion is carried. Thank you. CM 14.2, Federal Government Financial Assistance Grants Allocations. Councillor Glacken.
Thank you. Through you to move the recommendation as a motion that council receives and notes the correspondence from New South Wales Local Government Grants Commission.
Thank you. Do we have a seconder? Councillor Bettridge. Thank you.
The second motion, Mayor King.
Thank you. Councillor Glacken, did you wish to speak to it at all?
Simply to highlight that it's interesting that they've asked that it be made aware to the councillors specifically, and that's not something that's always done. The report was interesting to read to provide that background, and it also highlights the amount that we do get through that avenue and the significance of those grants to us on an annual basis. Thank you.
You, councillor Glacken. If there are no other speakers for or against, we'll put the motion. Those for? Those against? That motion is carried. CM 14.3, investment balances, December 2023. Councillor Thurley.
Thank you, Mayor King. I move that council receives and notes the investment balances report for the month of December 2023.
Thank you. Councillor Gluckin.
Happy to second.
Thank you. Councillor Thurley, did you wish to,
Thank you, Mayor King.
any speakers for or against? In that case, we'll put the motion. Those for, those against, that motion is carried. CM 15, delegates' reports for noting. There are none. CM 16, notice of urgent business. There is no, oh, sorry, Stuart Baker.
Thank you, Mayor King. I did mention this to the Deputy CEO the other day, but over the break, a gentleman quite agitated came in to say he'd spotted an Indian miner out at Mungabarina, which is a really, what would you say? It's an important invasive species bird that so far hasn't been around our area. They're in Melbourne everywhere. I believe they're as far north as Wangaratta, but I just think it's important to highlight it and maybe try and tackle the problem before they're everywhere. They lay eggs in native birds' nests and they're raised by native birds, and then they can take over an ecosystem, and they're really bad news. So just like to highlight that, and maybe we could look into collaboration and how to maybe get rid of them.
Yeah, no, wonderful suggestion. Thank you. Teams
Mayor King.
all taking notes on that as well. Thank you for drawing it to our attention. Any other urgent business, councillors? Okay, does someone wish to move the confidential item? Councillor Gluckin.
Thank you, through you, to move the recommendation as a motion. And I'll move both 17.1 and 17.2. That the council move into confidential to discuss council items 17.1 and 17.2, as these are confidential items exclusive of press or public on the grounds that the matters relate to commercial information of a confidential nature that would, if disclosed, one, prejudice the commercial position of the person who supplied it, and that's with reference to the Local Government Act 1993, number 30, section 10A2D I.
Thank you. Councillor Cameron.
Second that, please.
Thank you, councillors. Are there any statements or submissions from the public regarding the reasons as identified for these confidential items CM 17.1 and CM 17.2? There are none. Councillors, are you happy to proceed with the motion to move into confidential? Those for? Those against? That motion is carried. The motion to move into confidential has been carried. For our live stream viewers, we will now say goodbye, and you can find the outcome of this confidential session in the meeting minutes, which are published on the Albury City website within 2 business days.